It's worth mentioning I do not feel comfortable interacting with sober people while I'm tripping. I can, but I just prefer to avoid it. So, I ingest 20 milligrams of 2CI and I start jamming. It's somewhat early in the day, maybe 2 or 3. And within 30 minutes to an hour, I'm coming up pretty fast. I can tell this is going to be a fun trip. A little sweating and some bruxism, but nothing I can't manage. So, my dad calls to me. I'm leaving in I'm leaving, but the cable guys will be here in 20 minutes, so come down. And I'm a bit panicked by this unexpected intrusion. So I just blurt out, like, nah, I can't. And he yells up, annoyed, saying, just hurry up, because he's got to go. So I'm unable to argue in this state, so I just relent and I let out and, okay. So I'm on my laptop, texting my friends, just having a good time when I hear a knock at the door. And at this point, my teeth are clenched, I'm all sweaty, my pupils are the size of nickels, so I open the door and I let them in. And my strategy is just to avoid them as much as possible, but also be around in case they, like, I don't know, need to know where something is or whatever. And I'm hanging around in the living room while they're working on stuff. And I say, well, I don't want to look like I'm tripping, so let me pretend to be on the phone. I was just staring at the phone, and I think, well, I need to be doing something on the phone or they're going to know I'm tripping. So I just start mashing buttons. And then all of a sudden it dawns on me, dude, you look ridiculous. Like, what the fuck are you even typing? You're just mashing buttons. I exited the living room. I said, you know what, I'm going to get away. And I just start cracking up to myself about this whole ordeal. Like, of course, the one day I was supposed to have to myself, the cable people come over, so whatever. And I'm feeling pretty uneasy at this point, so I figure I'll take a half milligram of alprazolam. I take a half milligram, and then, of course, right after the nausea hits me, the blue tiles on the bathroom floor look like they're colored with watercolor brush strokes that just keep moving, and the grout in between the tiles is pulsating, and everything just kind of gets kind of swirly and dreamy. Like, usually I find phenylethylamine visuals to be quite sharp, quite visceral, almost like HD, but sometimes when I'm tripping really hard at the peak, everything just becomes like this mesh of colors, and it gets very hard to distinguish individual items. So I throw up, and then I'm tripping so hard at this point, I can't really even make out any distinct details, but I think I see the half milligram of alprazolam, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't get to absorb it. So I'm sitting there, like, thinking, should I even try to take this out of the toilet? Because it must have been my last one or something. And I try to take it out, but it's all slimy and gross, and I can't really find the pill, so I just say, fuck this, and I flush it, and I wash my hands. Yeah. So it seems like they've got things under control downstairs. I head back upstairs to my room, and I'm just enjoying the trip, you know. I'm tripping pretty hard at this point. This is the first trip where I went into thought loops, but I'll get into that in a second. So I pack my pipe and I head out to the roof. I figure, you know, the roof's kind of like a secluded place. And there's this drip from the air conditioner. It just keeps dripping down. And as I'm smoking, I realize this little drip is just like a repeating visual. It keeps dripping the same way each time. The droplet goes down the same path, and it is just bugging me out. And but not in a bad way, but like it's pretty cool. And I sit there, I start thinking, man, this is crazy. I do the math on the 2CI, and I'm like, I'm having like a trip that cost me $0.25, but it's an experience that I would have paid $100 for, you know? It just blows my mind how cheap these things are. And I start getting into like kind of a cyclic type of thinking. I'll think about something, then it'll lead me back to what I was thinking about originally, and I'll just be mind blown. And I guess some people call that a loop. But either way, I'm out there on the roof, tripping on this drip from the air conditioner, smoking my bowl, and I'm like, man, I gotta head back inside. So I head back downstairs, and they're about done. I look outside, and they're already packing up stuff in the van, so I figure, all right, I'm good. They're gone. And I go back upstairs. I go back out to the roof, and I'm sitting on the edge of the roof, and the breeze is just, like, blowing right in my face. It feels so good. I feel this, like, rush through my torso, and it feels kind of like when you're going down a slide or an amusement park ride. and I just throw my hands in the air and I'm smiling and just like, man, this is a ride. This is a literal ride. And I just smiling, my hands in the air, feeling the breeze on my face, and I just start giggling because like it's fun. Eventually I look down and all these workers are still here and they're looking up at me like, what the fuck is this kid on? It was 2C-I, but I'm just up there like grinning with my hands in the air like I'm riding a roller coaster, but all I'm really doing is sitting on my roof. And I think at that point they knew something was up. So I kind of like scurry back inside like, oh shit. I try to play it off and I scurry back inside and like whatever. So I'm still having a good trip. I'm jamming out. I'm having all these thoughts and having an extreme body high. And I'm a little overstimulated, but, you know, the physical aspects are secondary when you're tripping. So about like another 30 minutes passes. I come back downstairs and I see them kind of pulling. I look out the front door and I see them kind of pulling out of the driveway. And as I look out the door, I see them all turn back at me and I get like scared, like, oh shit, they all saw me. So I close the door and then I think, oh wait, that looks really weird. So I'm not really sure what to do at this point. So I kind of sneak around to the other window and I look outside and they're all just standing around their truck. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So finally I work up the courage to go out and ask them if everything's okay. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. We're just stuck in this, like, we're stuck in the driveway. Like their car got stuck in the mud or something, this big work van. And I'm just like I feel like I should offer help, but what kind of help could I offer even if I was sober? So I just say like, oh shit, and I go back inside. Like, well, I guess that's their problem to take care of. And sure enough, yeah, they got themselves out. They took off, and I'm finally by myself here. And by this point, my parents come home. Watching TV, I get the remote, and I'm just mind blowing. Like, we have maybe 500 to 1,000 channels, and before we had the old cable channels where like it capped out at like channel 70. This is just like a new world to me. I can't believe we have so many options of what to watch, and I'm clicking through, just scrolling through all of it, and I just keep remarking on how, oh man, this is incredible. I can't believe they did this. I can't believe they put all these channels in here. This is amazing. And, you know, come to think of it, I don't think I was ever again so enthralled by our channel selection, so it was definitely the 2C-I making things seem like epic, but, you know, you just got a bunch of channels. It was cool, but not that cool. So it was, I don't really remember a lot else from the trip. It was a good trip. It was mainly over by the time the workers left, but oh my god, that was a lot of stress and a lot of fun. That's my story of when I took 2C-I and had to interact with the cable guys. I hope y'all enjoyed. I had a great time telling it. I love telling these stories. I've got tons of trip stories. So if you enjoyed it, a like or subscription lets me know. And then I think, hey, people are watching these. I'm going to make more of them.